but it's really, really nice to be able to pull something out from up your sleeve and go, but I've got
But I've
this.
got this. That's right.
I want to be one step ahead rather than two steps behind.
Essentially, you're recording both sides of our conversation.
Welcome to a new episode of Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid Ahmed.
I don't know about other people. For me,
Sure.
the days are precious and time is precious, and that's why I'm so pissed off with myself for messing up the times today. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I owe you one for being so down and being so cool and being so laid back about that, man. I'm in your
No,
debt
no,
already,
no
really,
worries.
really. But I want you to know that that's how I feel. Okay.
Awesome.
I, I,
I appreciate it.
yeah, because it's important to me to keep my obligations, and if I'm messing up
Mm-hmm.
with something, and today today I screwed up the times, and I'm just like, I didn't even need to do that. Arg, arg. And
uh,
so yeah, I really appreciate that, mate. You're so cool. You're so cool.
no worries. So let's get right into it, huh? Or how do you usually start? I mean, this is my first time doing an interview with somebody totally new. I've talked on the phone multiple times with a lot of people, but to do it in a podcast style,
Yeah. Well,
it's
you know what
different.
I like about the one thing that I liked about the Anchor co-host system
Yeah.
was the first couple of times I used it, I'm like, this is frustrating and annoying, and there's no time to prepare anything, and there's this countdown, and then suddenly you're talking
Yeah.
to someone,
Yeah.
and then after doing that like 5 or 10 times, I was like, there's no better way than just to dive in, right?
Agreed. Exactly. Just start
There's no
talking.
better way than to dive in. So yeah, if you can start, or you can throw it back to me. I don't care, man. I don't care.
Sure.
And I might even because I've recorded like the first part of this conversation, what I
Yeah.
sometimes do is I put a little bit, I make a little bit of a preamble,
Mm-hmm.
like, because there's usually like couple, like 5 or 10 seconds of
Sure.
bizarre, irrelevant discussion, which is kind of
Yeah,
interesting,
it is.
you know,
It's
as a sort of
wait,
intro.
what was
So
that conversation about?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you're kind of dropping hints about what's coming. You're putting the
yeah,
hook in the water to catch the fish, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. That
let's
doesn't answer the question.
it doesn't, but it's fine. I mean, that's how we go. That's life. You're born and you're crying and you're like, holy smokes, this is life. Like we're
Yeah,
just entering, right?
deal with it.
Deal
Right?
with it. I
That's what
want
I'm
food.
always telling my son, man.
Yeah,
He's like, I'm like, deal with it.
deal with it.
Deal with it.
So how old is your son?
Oh, my son is
And
8. I have 3 kids. My son is
three
8.
kids.
2 daughters. My
Uh-huh.
first daughter is 5. My second daughter is 3. And it's
Wow.
highly probable that they might end up in the background at some point in time, because
Sure.
I have little or no control over what
Oh
they
no,
do.
absolutely. I totally agree. I understand. I have 3 kids myself: 8-year-old,
Yeah.
a 3-year-old, and a 7-month-old.
Wow. 7
Yeah.
months. Wow.
So
That's
you've
so
got a
cool.
nice gap between the three of your kids.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it
they're
works well,
almost
surprisingly.
self-sufficient, right?
Um, yeah, it's like that gradient of kind of teaching, right? Where
Yes.
you teach the first child, and then the first child takes some of that learning and teaches it to the second child, and
Yeah.
there's sort of you kind of get this flow going of kind of how things should be.
Exactly.
And then you're right, they're nice age gaps to have there. It looks nice in photographs, right? I was thinking the other day, right,
Yes.
when you got like a picture of the 3 kids together, it's kind of like this, tallest, middle one, and then the
Exactly.
little one.
They're like the
Yeah.
they're like the connection bars on your phone.
Oh yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So I don't know. Maybe we've started already. I don't know,
Maybe
man.
we started already, right? So we talk
Yeah,
about kids. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. We
that's
don't
one
need
of
an
the
intro. We don't need to do
we
an
don't need an
introduction.
intro. We're already in there because life is a hobby.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it all comes down to, okay, you've got 3 kids, and each kid has an activity that you have to take them to.
Hmm.
Either they're doing sports, or you're doing dancing, or whatever it is. It's
Hmm.
a time commitment that it all comes down to, time commitment and
Yeah, I get the point.
hobbies, right?
Yeah, let me dive in here and
Yeah.
say that right now, that my kids should be right now. I'm actually looking out a window of the house that I'm in. Oh,
Hmm.
by the way, we haven't done like where we are. We haven't done
No, we
anything,
haven't.
man.
We're
We haven't
just
done
right
anything.
having.
Okay, that's okay. Where's the rewind button, man? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Look, look. I'm in the Highlands of Scotland right now. That's
Okay,
where I'm hanging out. Right
nice.
now, I don't know if you know much about the Highlands of Scotland, but
I have
I,
no
I
idea.
I can tell you that it absolutely has the worst weather in the world, and I do not understand why anybody would ever want to come here. It has been
Wow.
highly romanticized
Mm,
through films and
mm,
and nationalism and independence and romantic novels and whiskey and God knows what else. And
yeah.
I'm just like, why do people live here, man? I don't look. I haven't seen the sun for 2 days. Okay.
Oh wow, that's
Okay.
crazy, man.
I don't.
So
It's,
Highlands of Scotland.
yeah, yeah. Actually, the clouds broke. Actually, to be honest, the
Uh-huh.
clouds broke about an hour ago, right? And the sun
Uh-huh.
came through, and I had to stop what I was doing and just go,
Yeah.
huh, sun, huh?
Let's go
Oh
check it
my
out.
oh my God. I've turned. I've only been here for 6 weeks at the moment, and because I'm working on a project,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I've turned into a cat. You know how cats look for that little area of sun and they kind of lie
Yeah.
in it, and
They're just laying there.
I've turned into a guy like creeping around, going, "Is there sun in this room? Can I
That's
get
so
sun
funny.
somewhere?" Oh my God! So I'm hanging out in the Highlands right now, and
Okay.
it's early evening, and that's where I am. Where are you?
So I'm in Northern Virginia, close to Washington D.C.,
Okay.
here in the United States of America.
Uh, okay. That's I have amazing respect for Americans because it doesn't matter where you look, Americans seem to be
Hmm.
leading the charge in all directions.
Sure.
It might not
There's
always,
one way to look at it.
yeah, it might
No,
not always
absolutely.
be
I
a good
mean,
thing, right? But I'm just
no, yeah, yeah.
right.
Good thing or bad thing, we're leading the
Yeah, yeah,
charge.
that's what I'm saying. You're like, I love that,
That's
and there's
funny.
like some American leading the charge. You're like, I hate that. There's some American leading the charge, right? It just
Yeah,
seems to
that's true.
it
It's
just
true.
seems to be that Americans are get up and go, right?
Yeah, let's just do it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely, absolutely. Best advertising slogan ever. Just do it.
it is. It's like just get out and do it, because you don't need to think about it.
Hmm.
And I was thinking about that um the slogan by Nike, and
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
asked my son, he would like contemplate and ask you all these questions. I was like, just do it. You'll figure it out when you start doing
Oh
it.
yeah. How
Uh
does it work? Play with it.
because
Yeah.
yeah,
Did
you play with
yeah?
it
Do you ever
because
notice that Facebook came with no instructions?
it
And
did.
that's a
So many websites come with no
yeah,
instructions.
yeah. And
People
that's a
just start playing.
complicated. I don't know if I can swear on your podcast. Can I swear? Are you for swearing?
Sure.
Against swearing?
Uh, I I marked my podcast as
Clean.
clean, but
Okay, okay. So no
we can
swearing.
do some
Okay,
beep.
I will try to get through it. I will try to get through it. But let's the it's a complicated MF, right? That's
Yes,
what
yes,
Facebook is,
it is.
and it came with no instructions. And there's all
That's
these
true.
people on the internet like sharing, like, I clicked on this and then this happened and then this happened and then that happened,
Yeah.
and it's like it's it somehow people know how it works, but no one's ever explained
Yes.
it to anybody.
Well, here's the funny part, right? Facebook's been around for over 12 years,
Yeah,
maybe longer than
there's
12
not even a
years,
book.
right?
There's not even a how to
And
use Facebook book.
there's no book about it. And I'm sure there's courses that talk you about how to use Facebook. I mean, there's definitely places that you can go to learn about
Mhm.
how to do Facebook advertising and how to do, those kind of things because it's marketplace related. But Facebook, people on Facebook just they they get into it. I mean, now sure it's so expansive. There's so many things to do on Facebook, but initially it was just checking out other people,
Oh yeah,
checking out
oh
people's
yeah,
profiles and
absolutely.
stuff like that.
And it's immense. The can I say the expanse is immense? I mean,
Hmm.
it's wild. I mean, the list of options, and I just discovered a few days ago. There's well, like, what's this? What Facebook Watch? What's that? I'm like, Jesus, there's a whole series of programs content created by people put out,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and and I don't even have time. I don't even have time for what I.
There's no time, my friend. There's no time. It's insane. Like the recent update they did for on
Mhm,
Facebook, where now you see all of the group activity in your main
mhm,
feed. It's been insane because before you would have to go to a certain page that you like or certain group that you
mhm,
like to engage with the content on those pages. But now all of that stuff is leaking into the main timeline. And you're like, wait, oh, this is happening over
mhm,
here. Oh, this group is meeting over
mhm,
here. So there's so much more engagement. And it all comes down to, okay, how much time do I have that I can
mhm,
dedicate to creating content or
mhm,
consuming content? Because you can consume content without effort, but
mhm,
it all comes down to when I want to create some content, okay, I need to go research. And then you sometimes you get sucked in, sometimes you can, control that need to dig in
mhm.
to something that's not relevant to what you're
Mhm.
researching.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty amazing.
There's so much stuff there, and you make a good point about you either consume or you create. I don't think there's much middle territory. Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you could
No, there's no middle
if you could
territory.
create and consume at the same time, that would be ideal. But um,
Actually, that would not be ideal at all
mhm.
because that's as if you're sitting on a toilet eating.
Right, yeah, there's a perfect analogy. Right,
So you can't
yeah.
consume and create at the same time. Does that
Well,
make sense? I guess that's a little
yeah.
PG-13 there.
I'm imaging that in my head right now. Thank you very much. And I'm
It doesn't look good.
well, the thing is, it actually looks possible. That's what,
Actually, you know what? It's you make a good point. Is it possible to consume and create at the same time? Yes. So let's say there's a video being shot. All those behind the scenes videos, the people who shoot
Mhm.
behind the scenes video, they're consuming
Okay.
what's happening, but they're also and creating content around that specific
Uh-huh.
area,
Well, what
right?
if
Like
creation and consumption is what you and I are doing right now, right? What if your input
that's true.
is the creation, and at the same time as you're inputting with your voice, I'm consuming,
That's very
and
true.
there's
We're
this
right
kind of
there.
back and forth going. So we're able to mediate the whole process and come out with some kind of
Yeah,
creative content at the end. But I think what we're generally talking about is the fact that you're either working towards producing something, or you're working towards consuming what is
mhm.
happening around about you, either in
That's
the
right.
the real world or the digital world. And um,
Yeah.
and I've noticed personally, like I read an article a couple of years ago, and the article was that
Hmm.
the average American consumes 4 hours of television it was. Now I'm not sure if that includes internet videos. I'm assuming it does. Okay, because I'm assuming that yeah,
Now
I'm
it
assuming that
should.
most people don't watch the old style TV anymore. They have
Mm-mm.
converted to, the either Netflix or I don't know whatever other million systems exist out there. Like I had this
Yep.
TV in my old flat, and I pressed a button on the remote and found like 50 channels that I never even knew existed. I was like,
Yes.
what is
Yes.
this? Oh my God. Oh, there's a channel for dance, and there's a channel for opera, and there's a channel for, I don't even know
Uh-huh.
what this channel is for, and I don't even know who creates it.
Yeah.
And oh my God, people have to create these
And
channels and put out the content and make the programs, and they
they
need
do.
cameramen, and they need
They,
scripts and actors and editors, and oh,
oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's amazing space to be in because um the internet is very vast. I mean, just looking at Facebook, they have 2 billion active users.
yeah,
2 billion
that's
active
insane. I
users,
mean, what's that? One
right?
in every
And
5 people?
yeah, 1 in every 5
Wow.
people. And if you think about it, there's so many people have so many hobbies. So when I started looking at hobbies, I was like, all right, let me show
Okay.
me hobbies. And there's so many different things people are doing and billions of content around it, for example. And that's where you call
Yeah.
niche marketing, right? So you're marketing to your niche, you're focusing like a laser target. I only want people that are interested
Mhm.
in knitting with green color
Mhm.
or knitting clothes for dogs. So now that's a very specific niche market. So of course there's a TV show around it because there's 100,000 people watching
Yeah.
this stuff. I ran into this one YouTube channel called
Ants.
Ants, and it was all about Ants Canada. And these people, like this channel had 600,000 subscribers. And what are
600,000.
they showing? This is videos. It's videos of ant farms that they have in their homes, huge ant farms. And they've got these battles because they've introduced 2 different colonies of ants together. And I was like, holy smokes, there's like a battle going on. You could see, and so everything's, of course,
Uh-huh.
sped up in time because they move a little slower. But then there's like conversation and commentary happening in the back. I'm like, holy smokes, this is
Oh wow.
amazing.
I mean, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing the
Yeah.
the things that exist, because you have to look at life as from the perspective of there's more we don't know than what we do know. Right. I always feel like if
Yes.
I'm in a room of people,
Hmm.
that it's
Hmm.
good to approach the situation as I know the least amount of information, because if I add up what everybody else knows, then I know
Yeah,
nothing in comparison with their
exactly.
knowledge and experience. And you see
Yeah.
that when you go out into the digital world, and discover that there
Hmm.
are, there's special Facebook sites for, I don't know, number plates for cars, and there's people who love autumn,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't know, there's probably a dedicated page to finding the best seats on airplanes or something like that. There's
There is. Absolutely.
yeah,
You think it, and Google
yeah,
will show you. That's
yeah.
how powerful. And I discovered the power of Google not when it
Mhm.
first came out. I discovered the power of Google probably a lot later than a lot of the people that are already using it. I was like, holy smokes, I can search for anything
Oh,
that I want. And the
it's
answers
amazing.
are
I mean,
there.
so I was looking for a game for my kids, and this is like an example of what you just described. I was looking for a game for my kids, and there's this
Hmm.
card game for children called Top Trumps. I don't know if you know it. Do you know this? It's the cards
Mm-mm.
have got
I
pictures
haven't
on
heard of
them,
it.
and let me give you an example. So they've got the cards with the pictures of the Star Wars characters on it, and they've got, rebel force,
Okay.
or I don't know, speed of thinking, or and they've got numbers, and you call your
Sure.
number, and if your number is higher than the other person's number, then you get their card. It's a little card game, right?
Uh huh.
And
Nice.
so I was in a local shop, and I was like, oh, they've got these different packs of like they've got like Harry Potter trump cards and other kinds of cards, and
Uh-huh.
and I was like, oh, this would be really cool for my kids. And then I came home and I was talking about it with my
Yeah.
partner. We were talking like, yeah, I wonder how much they cost, and I
Mhm.
wonder if they've got these special kind. And it's like, oh yeah, we'll have to see next time we go to the shop. And then my brain went, no, we don't. And I could get out my phone and I,
We
put
don't need
into
to go
Google,
there.
specifically what we're searching for, and I click the button and I click images and we look at the different pictures, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I have to change my thinking. My thinking is so old
Yeah.
school. This idea that
Mhm.
that there's no excuses anymore. There's no space for any excuses. There's no space.
No
There's no
way.
space for I don't know anymore.
No.
Because if you really wanted to learn it,
Exactly.
you can find it almost instantly, which is both a lifesaver and a conversation killer at the same time.
It is.
Because what
It
people
is.
would people would sit in the local pub or bar with a beer and they discuss a topic and throw ideas backwards and forwards, and
Yeah.
somebody would say, no, I'm sure it was this,
Yeah.
and somebody else would go, no, it wasn't, it was way before that. And now
Yeah.
we know. Now
Now we know. Like, let's just ask Google.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what it was. All right. That's next
Yeah, and
topic.
it's a godsend to have this information at our fingertips, or at the tip of our tongue if you're using
It
like
is.
some kind of voice search engine, right? So it,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's great to have that. But if you depend, obviously, if you depend on it too much, then you
Yeah.
lose your elements of discernment, your abilities to
It
make
is.
those little
So
judgments about things that make your life better, make your quality of life
go away because
better.
we are in the information age, but is that information being used as knowledge?
Hmm.
Right. That's where the difference is, because sure, we know there's this, or we can find information about a certain thing, but are we using that knowledge? Are we using that knowledge to enhance our uh, thinking, or I don't know how to
Yeah,
say it, but
I think
I'm just
no.
tripping
I
all
think
over
you're
my
getting
own words.
towards the point, which is that and I've heard it described that that just because you know something doesn't mean that you understand something. And the principle is the bicycle, right?
Yes.
We all know that
Yes.
the concept of the bicycle works, and you get on it and you pedal and you go somewhere. But you ask someone to explain the physics of it, what's happening in the physics of it, and
Yes.
people begin to get confused because there's a lot of complex stuff happening. And that's the reason
It is. Yeah.
why for thousands of years we never had the bicycle. We never had the bicycle because people were like standing things
Right.
up and going, look, it falls over. Why would you want to travel on something
Yeah.
that constantly falls
It
over?
doesn't
They
work.
didn't understand that the motion
Yeah.
created the balance, due to the forces.
Exactly.
and
It's
and so
amazing.
having knowledge is, it's key, but it's not as practically useful
It is.
as being able to understand why things are the way that they are, to know what it is, to know that it's a tree is
Yeah.
not as deep as understanding what kind of tree it is, what the material is, what the leaves are, what
Right.
grows on it, what kind of environment it needs. So there's levels to it.
No, that's so true. So true.
There's absolute levels to it. Yeah.
Talking about standing up two wheels and then falling down, they were able to create this motorbike that has a
Uh-huh.
built-in gyroscope.
Mhm.
So it spins in there, keeping the bike balanced at all times. You could try to push it down, but it won't
Mhm.
fall over because it's creating the momentum or
Oh
balance
yeah,
within
like the
itself.
self-balancing wheels. that you can get right now as well. So
Yes.
um,
Yes.
yeah, and that's going to be freaky
Yeah.
because if we depend too much on that,
Oh my God,
can you?
you're so true. That's so right. People will never learn how to balance a bike.
I know, I know.
Like,
Um,
yeah.
it's
Oh,
oh yeah,
it's a plus and
yeah,
a
yeah.
minus.
It's like running will get you there faster, but you'll be knackered if you
Yes.
haven't had a heart attack, right?
That's right.
on
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on the way. So yeah, right now I'm up in the Highlands right now, and I'm out in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
and people need
Mhm.
you need the transportation to get anywhere. If you can't live here without a car, and like I'm I'm all for living environmentally friendly, and taking care of your waste and all that kind of stuff, and
Mhm.
looking after things around about you.
Mhm.
Um, and people are like, oh, cars are bad and whatever, but it's, there's no way that communities here could survive if
Yeah.
that element of technology didn't exist, because people just wouldn't be able to get anywhere. They wouldn't be able to get to
Yeah.
work. They wouldn't be able to get to the bank. They wouldn't be able to have leisure activities. They wouldn't be able to do anything at all.
Yeah. Nothing.
So the technology does improve the quality of our life, and we don't want to go back 100 years. We
Oh,
don't want to go
absolutely.
back to the times before central
Yeah.
heating and double glazing and all of those
Mhm.
all of those modern comforts that make life bearable. um, so it's
Absolutely.
it's the double-edged sword, right? It's the double-edged sword.
It is.
Oh,
It
oh,
is. I mean, growing up myself, I grew up in California, and they don't have any public transportation system that can get you efficiently from one place to another. So there's a lot of cars, an insane amount of cars, in fact, in California, and they have 5 lane, 6 lane, 7 lane freeways, and you got lanes on either side that is just huge, and there's still traffic. I actually recorded an episode while I was there in LA,
mhm.
while I was commuting,
It's
because
downtime, right?
um, that's
Because
one of the
you're
things.
stuck in the
It's
car.
downtime. Exactly.
You're stuck in the car.
You're stuck in a car. So most of my podcasts are
Mhm.
recorded in a car, but I've got a good setup that I'm able to do this. So I was like, and I started talking about the reasons behind. So I still have to publish that podcast because I was traveling, and
Life, the universe, and
weddings and
everything,
stuff like
right?
that didn't happen to happen.
It all gets in the way. It all gets in the way.
Yes, yes.
I know what. So on you go. On you go. Tell us about
So
the free.
no, I don't want to talk about that because you can
Okay.
check out that podcast and listen.
No, I'm not going to tell you what's there. You have to go and find out for yourself.
You go find out. I mean, it's. I think it is interesting, but it all comes down to, okay, what is it that's most important to you, and if you need to get from one place to another, you use the technology that's available to us, and it's getting better every
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah.
It's
We
getting
make
better every day.
we make those little improvements. At the same time, there are these odd little contradictions. Let me give you an odd little contradiction. In the late
Hmm.
1960s, mid to late 1960s, you could travel from Paris to New York in 3 hours, right? Yeah, where's that gone?
Hmm.
Right,
Wait, how did you travel
Paris,
from
New York to
New
Paris,
York
Concorde,
to?
the supersonic jet,
Oh
the
yes,
supersonic jet, right? So now we
yes,
fast forward, we got 10, 20, 30, 40, 40, 50 plus, I don't know, almost 50 years later, right? Yeah,
since
yeah.
over
What's
50
the
years.
time
Yeah,
traveling? Time travel. Well, the time that it takes to travel, right? Yeah, yeah. We're
it
now
takes a
talking. I
long
don't know. I,
time.
I don't know exactly the time. What do we 7, 8 hours or something like that? I don't know exactly, right? So that's
Yeah,
gone backwards rather than
yeah,
forwards. Yeah,
it's gone
and
backwards, and I don't know why. I wanted to. I never looked into it why they discontinued the Concorde. because a friend of mine, he's from Britain, UK himself, and he just loves talking about Concords because British Airways was the one flying the
Yeah, it was a
Concords most of the
joint
times.
project between Air France and British Airways to make the Concords. And
Okay.
well, it's interesting. I have a theory about
Yeah.
that. My theory is that the human brain couldn't handle it. That's my theory. The human brain
Really?
couldn't handle it because when you could have
Holy smokes.
you could have breakfast in London and lunch in New York,
Yeah,
and people did.
in New York.
Now,
People
I
did.
just think that it was too much for the average person's brain to even comprehend,
Sure.
because at that point in time,
Sure.
uh, it would
It's
we're
too ahead
talking
of its
about
time.
technology that was maybe 100 years ahead of its time, right? And
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
average person
absolutely.
was struggling to make a living, make things
Make a
happen
living.
for themselves. And schools needed development, and the services and health wasn't so good,
Hmm.
and there were all these other elements of society that needed support. Meanwhile, people were zooming around the planet at supersonic speeds, yeah, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? And you could have lunch in New York and be back
That's
for
crazy,
tea
right?
in Britain, right? I mean, it was completely insane,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think it was
Completely
just too much.
insane. And I it was too much. I mean, I'm thinking
Yeah,
about 1950s brains,
yeah,
1950s technology with cars and everything else, and it was just like, wow, that's we don't need fighter
yeah,
pilot speeds in these in
yeah,
commercial jets. And I think
yeah.
that's what
I
happened.
think that we we reprioritized how society was organized, and
Yeah.
because if it got any faster, could-
It
I
could
mean,
have.
if it
It
had
could have
got
gotten
faster, I
faster.
mean, how would we deal with that even?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well,
people have
it's
problems catching buses and trains that
well,
are
that's where
scooting around like
yeah,
never on
exactly.
time or on schedule or whatever, and so
I think it also has to do with um corporations being
mhm,
able to make money off of it. Because you're mentioning it was a joint project between Britain and France, and majority of the airlines that are
mhm.
doing business is I don't know where they are located, right? And they're like, no, this is not good for business for us. We're not making as much money as we want to. So we're
Yeah,
gonna,
absolutely.
you know, I don't know. There has to be some
Well, yeah,
um,
if you look at it from a
something in
money
that
making perspective,
respect.
if you slow down the process, you have people's attention for longer,
Yeah.
right? So that's the difference between
Yes.
making a film and making a
Exactly.
Netflix series, right? People will go to the film once, watch it
Exactly.
once, and it's do did done, right? Um, but people
Mm-hmm.
will be drawn into the series because they have to invest more time in it, and you've got people's attention for longer.
Oh yeah. So annoying. Like, and then
Mhm,
you come back for the next
mhm,
season. You've got
mhm,
hooks. I'm
mhm.
like, oh
Yeah,
my
it's
god,
all it's all
it's
extremely
painful.
well done and organized, and
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
mhm.
they've got some really good people
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I wish?
behind
Here's
what's
my
going
dream.
on
My
there.
dream is that all of the creativity that goes into making excellent TV programs and videos and films, if we could do that within schools,
Yeah,
right? If we could just do that in schools,
yeah,
if we could just
yeah,
have all that creativity flooding through and encouraging people to go out and to if you can think about a way to make society better, then you can just you can go out and do it, and you've got the creative people around you to work on it, and you've got the support within the environment.
yep.
If we could take all the energy put into K-pop videos for teenagers and and use that in a way that we can do something slightly more helpful for society, then then
Absolutely. But I think the school system is great in teaching children in how to work hard,
Oh yeah, work
right?
ethic.
And my son just came home early, that early release today, so he's like watching here. Is like, what are you guys talking about? School? What are you talking?
Yeah. It's well, it's interesting that you used the word release. I mean, that's an interesting word to use connected with education. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where else do people get released?
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. Well, mm, get
You
released.
get released
Yes,
from another
yes. Anyway,
place.
anyway,
Mm-hmm.
no, I agree with the hard work ethic principle. I agree
So
with that. If you're not getting it outside of school or getting it from your family or the culture that you're part of, then school's purpose is to ensure that you do have that ethic there, um, for sure. Because
right.
I've lived within um, cultures and societies. I've lived in places where if schools did not exist, society would still be in the Stone Age,
Uh,
right? It 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 really would.
no.
It really
Yeah.
would be like that. Oh wow! Check this out.
It
One
yeah.
second.
It all comes down
One
to
second. My partner has just given me a glass of
sure.
something, and I don't know what it is. Wait 1 second. I've got to ask. What is it? What is it? I, banana, raspberry, hemp, and cinnamon. Oh, to die for. Thank you. Much appreciated. Sorry about that interlude.
Sounds
Oh man,
it sounds delicious.
man, I've got a big smile on my face, mate. Big smile on my face. It is going to be. It looks delicious. I'd like to send you a picture, but not really very practical right now. But anyway, just you got to visualize this visualize this
I gotta visualize it. Yep.
the glass of it's a pink colored milk. It's all frothed up. It's ice cold, and it's full of everything the body needs. There we go. Mm.
Nice.
Ah.
Very nice. So, how did you get into podcasting? I know I'm gonna skip the
Um.
FB forums being
Yeah.
helpful.
Skip the what? The what?
There was one question you had about
Oh yeah, sorry.
are Facebook
FB. I'm
forums
sorry. I'm sorry.
helpful?
I heard something else. Right. Yes. Sorry. I fell into it by accident, completely by accident. Um, I'm a content creator, and I've had a YouTube channel for 8 years, 9 years, and
Nice. I'll have to go check out your YouTube channel.
it's the Academy of Language Therapy and Life Coaching. Dun, dun, dun.
Nice.
And so what I do is I kind of record what's happening in and around the work that I'm doing with people as I go.
Uh-huh.
So what this means is right now there's over 1,600, I think 1,700 videos and audios on my YouTube channel.
Wow.
Yes, my aim is to produce content constantly. And what that means is that I have days where I work with people, and sometimes I'm producing 3 or 4 hours of content a day, which is criminally insane, actually. is
That's
what it is.
amazing. No, I think that's amazing because that is one thing that Gary V, and I'm sure you've heard of Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yes.
That's one thing that he focuses on is,
Mhm,
dude, you need to create content
mhm,
constantly every day
mhm.
without a pause because that is what will get you.
Legacy, I think,
Yeah.
is one of his aims. Absolutely. Well, I had sort of selfish reasons, which were that I wanted some kind of record left for my family. When my son was born,
Hmm.
I had this kind of I'd started playing with the technology before that, but when my son was born,
Hmm.
I had a revelation that if for some reason something were to happen to me,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have anything really about who I was or what I did or what I stood for
Wow.
or who I am. And I realized that my parents didn't really leave anything for me, and I've got nothing for my grandparents, and
Yeah.
I have zero information about my
Wow.
family, right?
Okay.
And I thought I don't want to leave nothing behind. I don't want to leave nothing. I don't want to come here, live my life on this planet, and then go away and there be no trace left. There doesn't seem to be any point to that
Did
for
did
me.
this
You
did
know,
this thought occur around the time when How I Met Your Mother show came out? I don't know if you've seen that show.
I don't even know what that is,
Okay.
mate. So educate me.
So How I Met Your
Educate me.
Mother
What is that?
show, it lasted for about 8 years, and it
Okay.
started with his dad telling a story to his 2 kids. And he's
Okay.
basically talking about how he met their mother. And the entire show is around
Okay.
this, and he goes around telling different stories. And eventually, towards
Mhm.
the end of the entire 8 seasons, we figure out who the mother is, because they never show who the mother is. He's just going around telling them his
Okay.
life.
So do you get like scenes from the past? Does it show you
Yes,
from the past?
there's essentially all of them are scenes from the past.
Okay. Okay.
And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And then we've
It sounds like a nice. It sounds like a nice idea. It sounds like a nice idea. But I've
yeah,
never
so you're
heard of that.
yeah, so you're documenting it for your kids.
Mhm.
Is it's pretty amazing, because it's motivation, right? What's the motivation behind anything that you do?
Yeah.
And that's your motivation, and it's a legit
Mhm.
and accurate motivation
Well, here's the way
that people
here's
would
the way
do.
I look at it, right? And I think this is useful for everybody. And this is that if somebody were to write a biography of your life for whatever reason, if
Hmm.
someone were to write one,
Yeah.
would they get it right if they if they interviewed your partner and your kids and other members of family and people you worked with, would they get it right? Would they actually have a picture of who you really were, or would you end up with a picture of who they thought you were?
Yeah. Most of the time, it would be one or the other.
Well, it would be their perspective on
Yeah.
you rather than your perspective on you. And that is sort of through my life, when I've tried to explain things to people, people have made judgments about me, like, oh, you think this because of that, and I'm like, well, thank you very much for that judgment. I'm not sure that's accurate, but thank you for the judgment anyway, right?
Yeah.
Because I've sort of got this perspective that I do what I do, I know what I know, but I'm also evolving at the same time. So,
That's true.
so what I knew and what I thought 10 years ago is not exactly the same as what I think and what I know today. Because when we meet new information, the information changes situations and we have to transform.
Yeah. It's
And
amazing.
and what I see when I can go back and look at videos now that I made 8 years ago
And it's
in my office,
like,
and
whoa.
apart from them being embarrassing and me seeing a huge uh, progression from where I was then and where I am
Yeah.
now. You know, it's just interesting to hear who I was, to hear what I thought, to hear
Yeah.
what interests me.
Very
And
true.
I think a lot of people are really scared to do that. I think a lot of, because I've had conversations about this with people, and people say, aren't you worried that somebody might, see one of your videos and think something from the past? Or I'm like, no, that's what I want,
That's what I want them to
right?
do.
I want people to critique it in that kind of way. I want it to raise questions.
Yeah.
I want people to recognize things that are different. And here's another thing. Like, I lived a pretty unhealthy lifestyle like 8, 9 years ago, and I look back at those early videos, and I'm kind of chubby. I'm overweight. I've got long hair and don't take care of it. I look a bit of a mess, right?
Yeah.
And I've sort of like, that's not me now. I'm
That's not me
different
at all.
now. I've
Yes.
improved. I'm more interested in in health and nutrition and looking after myself and staying sharp, on mindset, on growth, and this it's positive for me to
It
look back.
is. It is. There was actually a TED talk talking about how exercise is one of the things that can massively change the state of your mind, and it's the only thing that can do that can bring such a change.
Yeah, it's oxygen to the brain.
And I was thinking about it. I was like, that is so true.
Oxygen to the brain. If the brain doesn't get the oxygen, you're starved.
Yeah.
And exercise is the only way of ensuring the brain gets enough oxygen. Drugs can't do it. You have to get the heart pumping and circulating everything around the body. Here's a crazy thing. So I live on the coast up in the Highlands. I'm standing at this. I'm in this. It's a big old Victorian house. I'm looking out the window, and I'm looking across this green landscape. Believe it or not, there's a golf course right in front of the window because there's a golf course everywhere in Scotland. And then beyond the golf course, there's a river. Beyond the river, there's the sea. I can see the sea from this window. I can see
the sea. Yeah, wow, that's awesome. And that's a pull, right? That's why people come to visit.
It's there's something
maybe. Or maybe they're looking for the Loch Ness monster. Who knows?
People come for that, man. That's a huge industry, which is insane because it doesn't exist. I hate to break it to you, but there is.
I know it doesn't.
There is no monster. I'm sorry. There's a couple of foggy photos taken by drunk people on their way home from the pub at 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah. It's probably a sailboat that looked like.
Well, here's the crazy thing: like people spend money on research, like every year, like these special research boats that go up and down the loch looking for this mysterious monster. Which
oh my god!
And that's you talked about like the ant channel earlier, right? And like that's wild. Well, I think spending money on monster research is kind of wild.
Or looking for the Yeti, right? So there's the internet is full. I mean, the world is full of these kind of people. So who's on the internet? These same people. So it's gonna reflect it.
The world is full of beauty and madness that live side by side.
Yes.
It's almost as if beauty and madness got married and produced this planet. like I was in a sauna today, right? And I was in a sauna today, like sweating it out, and in came these 3 girls, and they were how can I say this? They were large, okay? They were big girls, and they came in and they sat down, and they got their mobile phones out. Well, they had their mobile phones with them, right? And they started taking pictures of each other in the sauna, and
wow.
And I kind of sat there with the flash, right? So you can imagine like this click,
and I'm
sitting in the sauna, like sweating and like just it's my little bit of peace, my little bit of space, right? Right. And I have to say to them that, excuse me, is it possible that you could maybe not, take pictures of each other, in the sauna? Do you have to do it here? Could you not maybe do it? Oh, sorry, are we bothering you? Do you think it's normal to do this? They're like, oh, well, we don't see a problem with it. Well, okay. It's me. I'm the crazy one. I'm the crazy one for thinking the sauna is not the place for doing flash photography, right? Public sauna.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. And they're like, oh, sorry, we understand if you don't want to be in the pictures. I'm like, that's got nothing to do with it. It's got nothing to do with it at all.
It's not me.
Like, I don't
That's so
really
funny.
care. I'm just looking for a bit of space, please.
Yeah.
Please. Oh my God.
Wow.
Somebody save me.
That's so funny.
Oh, this.
So Graham, I know we weren't able to get through all of the topics.
We did it.
And which is fine. I mean, we certainly have to do another one of these because I really enjoyed talking to you, and to see the perspective of another person. It's pretty amazing, especially from another part of the world, because you've grown up with different experiences, and I've had different experiences, of course, and
It's wonderful. It's
it's just
wonderful
just
to to get another window into the world.
yes, it
It's really
is.
wonderful because you can't we can't ever know exactly what someone is thinking, but we can listen to them.
No, we can listen to it.
We can listen to them, and
Love
that's
it.
really really powerful. So put out a bit
Yeah,
of information about your podcast
we'll do.
and what's on it. Can you give me a little bit
Absolutely.
of info?
So
Give me a little bit of background.
yeah, so my podcast is called Hacks and Hobbies.
Okay.
It can be found on Apple Podcast
Mhm.
or wherever you listen to your podcast. I use the Anchor platform, of course. That's how we met, through the Anchor community. And I've been doing the podcast for about 6 months. And my experience with podcasting was, this was about 2013, 2012. Myself, my two of my cousins, we got together and like, we should do a podcast. So we did a few episodes, but then since we were all in different locations, I was in Colorado, they were in California, the time difference, we just could never line up the correct time, since we all have full-time jobs. It was weird. Um, and then earlier this year, I was like, dude, we should do something. He's like, why don't you do it? And then Anchor came out. And I was like, all right, Anchor is awesome. I'm going to just do it on my own. And then I started talking about my hacks and my hobbies. And since I have a ton of hobbies, I started with beekeeping, and I talk all about beekeeping and all about the different hobbies that I have on hacks and
That's
hobbies.
pretty cool. I saw one of your little videos actually. I hopped over to your Facebook page. I think is it one of your videos that you
Oh,
made, or
cool.
was it? I don't know if it was you or there was like somebody making a hive for bees. Was that? That's
Yeah,
you.
that's
That's
me.
you. Okay, cool. So I got this picture
That's
in my
me.
head. It's
Yeah.
right. It's you. Right.
Yes.
'Cause-
Yeah.
okay, that's cool. So you like you were building a hive for bees, or was that?
So yeah, so a beehive is essentially, there's multiple frames inside the hive. It's a box that has a top and bottom
Mhm,
open. It's just four sides, planks of
mhm,
pieces of wood put together, and inside you have a frame, and inside the frame is a foundation. Now this foundation is made out of
mhm,
beeswax with hexagon imprinted all around on either side. So this foundation and the frame go inside the
mhm,
box, and you can have 8 or 10 frames. And now when the bees come in, they start drawing out the honeycomb on either side of the frames, and that becomes their
mhm,
stores for eggs and larvae and pollen and bee bread
mhm,
and nectar, as well as
mhm.
honey. So you give them foundation, they do all
Uh-huh.
the work.
Wow, that's cool. Hey, you know what's interesting? My partner's mother keeps bees in her garden. She
Oh
keeps
wow,
yeah, yeah,
nice.
yeah, and she gets great honey from them as well. Not
Yeah.
only that, somebody in the little village where I am right now just won like
Mm.
best honey in Scotland or something like.
Oh
Yeah, yeah, and
wow,
it's just like this.
nice.
You walk up the road as you do in villages. You walk up the road 2 minutes, and everybody goes to this person's house, and they knock on the front door, and they
Yeah,
say, "Can we buy some honey?" And he just sells through his front door this honey
that's awesome
that he made. So what the bees made that he collected.
that the bees made for them.
So yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah, cool.
So that's my podcast. And tell me a little bit about your
Okay,
podcast.
super. So I've got two that I do basically. One is a ChatterBox where I put out my conversations with people. It started doing the co-host with
Hmm.
people, just chatting with them, and I thought it
Hmm.
would be nice to have all the conversations in one place. And that became ChatterBox,
Nice.
and that started just from
Yeah,
clicking the co-host button on Anchor and finding out who was
got
there,
it.
and that just
Got
grew
it.
through that. So I've done over 80 co-host conversations now, and
Wow.
I've made friends all over the world. And what happens is it starts with a co-host conversation, and then you end up like I was doing Facebook Live today with somebody from Bali. Yeah, um, who we met,
Nice.
who I met through the co-host system, which is great. And the other one, which is more popular, is Business Coaching Masterclass. And that's where I put out life
Okay.
coaching and business coaching on a daily basis. That's 2 podcasts a day, right? Which is again
Nice.
criminally
That's a lot
criminally
of
insane.
content.
But I just don't know what to do with it. I mean, I'm a content creator and I'm just producing stuff all the time, and I'm just like
Mm-hmm.
I just throw it out to the world, and
Mm-hmm.
you know I should
Yeah.
spend more
Yeah.
time on other elements like promotion and marketing and doing other little bits and pieces. But
Sure.
I'm I
Absolutely.
explained earlier why I'm doing it, so I think kind of all
Yeah. Yeah.
it all
Yeah. So
feeds
that's
back in. It's
awesome.
just putting stuff out, and
Yeah.
every now and then you get a little bit of feedback from people that says, "Oh, we like that," and that's nice. That's so
That's
there's
awesome.
on the business coaching masterclass, there's life coaching, there's business coaching, and there's also a parenting series that because I did 2 parenting podcasts last year, and I
Mm-hmm.
ran them for the
Mm-hmm.
year, and so there's special content for parents that's there as well, and
That's pretty cool.
there's other odd and curious things out there. When you get involved in the digital area and you're creating content,
And you have the time to do it.
yeah, or you make the time to do it, or it happens
You make
as
the
a
time to do
result
it.
of what you're doing anyway. Because if my
Yeah.
work
There
is
you
with
go.
people and I'm
Yeah.
recording my work with people, then all I have to do
Ah. So you've got those
all I have to
conversations.
do
Mm-hmm.
is take the conversation, edit out anything which is inappropriate, or not include anybody else's names or personal content and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep things as sane and sensible in that area as possible, and just put it out because um, too much gets lost. Too much get
It
too
does.
much gets lost. Let's not lose
It's so
it.
true. Yeah.
You know,
Let's not lose it.
I think that wouldn't it be great if I think we've all had kind of all podcasters have had this thought. Wouldn't it be great if the great people of the 20th century or the 19th century had
I know, right? If they had a
oh man
podcast,
oh man oh man could you imagine like the
right?
Muhammad Ali podcast, man? Could you?
I know. Be so cool. Like, what's going in his
Yeah,
brain? Like, what is he
yeah,
thinking? And we get access to some of their like speaking gigs, but that's about
yeah,
it. There's autobiographies, and but that's about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Man, I think we need to talk about that topic next time
Oh
around.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Let's explore. The world is full of interesting things, and as long as people have experiences
It
and
is.
are ready to share, that's where it begins. That's where
Yep.
it begins.
Awesome, awesome friend. This was
You were
great.
great. You were great. That's why it was great.
No, you're amazing, my friend. You've got a really good thing going on there, and
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
love it,
Hey,
love it.
hey, I'm sure we'll be in touch with each other again.
Oh,
I want
absolutely.
to keep in contact with you, and if it's possible to share how things are going. It's always good to know that people are headed in the right direction. If there's anything that I can help you with, there probably isn't,
Yeah,
but I'm just saying that
yeah.
anyway. If there's anything I can help you with, just
No, there's a lot of things that I've picked up based on your conversation and based on what you've done in the past, and there's a lot of parallels that I want to touch on. It.
yeah, mull everything over, mull it all
Yeah,
over, mull it all over. Who
yeah,
knows
for
what
sure.
grows from what grows, right?
Exactly. Well,
No,
thanks so much.
thank you, mate, and
All right.
we'll do it again for sure.
Thanks for sticking through and listening to that last interview with Graham William Hendry. I met the gentleman over on the Anchor community on Facebook as we spoke and figured I would talk to him and see his take on life and take on how long he's been doing his podcast and other things. that's it for this episode. If you're interested in talking to me and being on my podcast, please feel free to reach out to me